guys, how you doing? How's your week going? Yesterday we were shooting from the workshop because that has become my new office, and today we are shooting from our showroom at Vakenya. Welcome. Here is where we display the magic. The samples are around us, so we are surrounded with food here today. So as usual, it's your girl Daisy Riri, and if you have not liked, subscribe or turn the notification bell. Before we continue, do it. Number 2, before we go on, if you're not an entrepreneur, someone who owns a small business, someone who is business savvy, someone who wants to start their business, send them this link, okay? Because today we are talking about what? Business model. Yesterday, the previous episode, we talked about our the lean Canva, and today we are now unpacking it bit by bit. So it's lecture 2, and also number 1, customer segmentation. Customer segmentation. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and if you do, leave a like, subscribe, and you can send MPESA so you can be able to use the money to do what? To do better production in future. So if you remember the last class, what is customer segmentation? Think about it. What is customer segmentation? We defined it in the last class. I'm just gonna give a brief one if you don't remember. So customer segmentation is a system whereby a business uses the existing characteristics to do what? To categorize their potential clients so that they can decide whether to serve them or not to serve them. Do you understand? If this tool, you do this customer segmentation, it allows you to decide, should we serve them, should you not serve them, do you align with them or not. This is where after you finish the customer segmentation, you can do the following 2 things: hire a new client, okay, fire an existing client. And I keep saying, you have not become an entrepreneur if you have not fired your clients, okay? You must fire your clients. Another thing, unlocking potential of what? Of a new client basis. Another thing, it also helps you improve what? Your product development process and optimizing campaigns. So this is one of the most important part of the lean Canva. This is what is gonna be guiding our entire Canva as the days goes by. And as usual, guess who's the dummy? Vakenya. So let's get to work, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, my girls and my boys, meet entrepreneurs here, hailing from Nairobi. We are here in Downtown British Shopping Center. Fully sponsored. I'm also co-founder of Vakenya, so I could say sponsored by Vakenya because you guys are my time. And if you want to support, send MPESA. My number is gonna be here so that you can do what? Better productions as the days go by. So now let's get to work. When you're thinking about customer segments, the first question you need to ask yourself is who? Who are we working with, or working for, or want to work with, or want to serve? And then who is our most important? After you've known who, you get a list of other people. Like, let's say, as usual, you're going back to Vakenya. So let's say there is Daisy, Bigfoot, and then there is Brenda, Bigfoot, Banyons. And then let's say, so it's the same problems. They're both there's the Bigfoot Daisy and there's the Bigfoot Brenda, right? So when you go to the second person, who is more important to serve? Who is more important? Is it better to serve who? To serve Daisy or Brenda? We're gonna find out after you've asked yourself. And usually you can just use whatever information you have. And then what is the difference between serving different segments? After you've listed, you have the Daisy and the Brenda. What's the difference between serving Daisy and Brenda? I'll give it to you for free. For example, for Vakenya to serve Brenda, we will have to have the technology and the right shoeless to do what? To accommodate the bunions on Brenda's feet. But serving days is just a matter of doing what? We don't need a new technology to help us with this, because it's just about finding the right shoelace for Daisy, which means, you see, shoelaces are in all sizes. So let's say Daisy is a wide foot, which and usually I used to wear size 43 men. That means if you come to vacation and you wear for 43 men, just a matter of us designing a female design using what? Men last. That is way easier. But Brenda is a special case. So that is, and what is the difference between what usually existing what let's say your segment is big foot and small foot, or whatever that segment looks like. And then what do they like? I'm gonna be frank with you. Before I found vacation, I used to wear a lot of heels, and I used to think I liked heels. I really did think I liked heels, but because those are my main options, it's also that I was wearing men's sneakers or ridiculous heels or ugly shoes. And when I get a nice flat doll shoes, ilikuwa nikata mahali and nifinya mahali, I cough 10k. Remember the 10k we talked about yesterday? You see, so I didn't have a lot of options. Then I discovered apparently I'm a simple girl with simple needs. I only need flat shoes that are doll shoes or slip-ons. Imagine for all that hassle. I actually love my flats. And also I realized I actually do not like walking with sandals, even though previously it was one of my main walking shoes. So when you are doing this, we need to discuss. So here we discover Daisy likes actually what? Flats. And manufacturing flats locally is easier, right? So Daisy is still what? Winning in this Vakenya segment. And then the most important thing when you're doing a segment is how large is the segment. Do we have more Kenyans with bunions compared to Bigfoots, or do we have more Bigfoots compared to bunions? This is an example. So when you look at the population, if you discover that we have more people with bunions locally than we have Bigfoot women, what should you do as an entrepreneur? Fire Daisy. Remember how we said the uses of this thing is to fire or hire? Hey, so let's say now you've been favoring Daisy all along, and then you discover, let's say this is a population. So in a population you realize that Bigfoot women are this big. Bigfoot women with no existing with no existing feet issues, and then the rest have what? Let's say bunions. Whether they are big feet or not, they have bunions. You discovered that. What is the smart thing to do as a business? This is where you fire who? Daisy is fired. Daisy is fully fired in this scenario. Who is hired? The bunions guys. Even though they don't have the technology, that's where we go. You're gonna go and start doing what? Developing the technology to serve who this. And how many people with bunions are willing to pay you good? That again. So that's one example. Another thing we discover that people with bunions are wengi, but they're already being served by imports. So yes, wako wengi. Yes, ni ukweli wako wengi. For real, lakini hawako willing kulipa. So they're not even looking for what? Customized shoes. They're okay na viatu zikiwafinya here and there. They're okay wearing sandals. They're okay with whatever. Oh, if you don't know the meaning of bunions, ile place nye. Let me show you my feet. Some people have this thing has protruded more than others. So in this bone has protruded, that's what you call a bunion. It's usually caused by wearing ill-fitting shoes from the word go. So, and then again, at the end of the day, you just don't make a decision because of that. Because if you decide about the numbers alone, remember who is more important comes to play. So as a business owner, you need to ask yourselves these questions before you decide who to fire or who to hire or do whatever or which part of the business model is supposed to be what? To be grown. I'm not gonna put more examples about that. And now I've been telling you all this about Daisy and Brenda, but seriously, how do you find Daisy and Brenda? Seriously, how do you find Daisy and Brenda? So we're gonna go to what? Types of segments. Then I call what them? Types of segments. We have several of them, but I'm gonna target 4 first, and then the last one is gonna just be mentioned as a by the way. So let's do this box and divide them by 4. Okay, we have behavioral, we have demographic, we have psychographic, I hope I'm saying it right. And then the last one, which is very, very important, is what? Geographic. Our, by the way, is gonna be what? Firmographic. This one is gonna be especially for people who are in what? Corporate. They wanna target corporate, they wanna target specific industry. This one is usually more if you wanna go. We're just gonna unpack this at the last one. So let's talk about behavior. What do you understand as behavior? Personally, I know behavior is how people behave. See, that's what I did again about the segment. Behavior are the characteristics of a set of individuals. Usually, like a set of individuals that show the same characteristic, right? So, for example, you could decide to do a segment with things like, let's say, loyalty. Let's do your loyalty. Number 2, decide to do what? The engagement. And number 3, you decide to do what? With usage. Okay. So, by when you are trying to when you're looking at you already have a business, you need to look at your what? How your clients, what characteristics your clients keep exposing while you're interacting with them. Okay. So, if you are dealing with a very loyal group of people, that means they only want you to do everything for them. For example, for Kenya, they want you to do their clothes, they want you to do their shoes, they want you to do their branding. They are demanding a lot of things from you, and the numbers keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. That means you've been able to build a loyal customer base, and through loyalty, you can decide how to serve them best. So this list of loyal clients, how are you gonna grow them and deliver to them better? And that usually comes from what kind of people they actually are as people. By engagement, how do they engage with your brand, or how do they engage with your competition, and how can you engage them better? Usage, with this product or service that you're offering, how are they using it? So before I even continue, here's a funny story about usage of how a product was there for something else and then it was used for totally something else. So one of my favorite one is Coca-Cola. Coke was designed to be drunk, right? But I have seen people use Coca-Cola in cleaning stains in their houses. That is a very unique way that Coca-Cola has been used. They need to like market that part of it. But you see, one product was made for one thing, but you get clients using it for totally a different role at the end of the day. So so these ones is gonna help you a lot in your research. You design thing for A, it's gonna be used for B. That is the first one about behavior. You need to just study the behavior of your segment so that you can be able to help them best. The next one is demographic. What do you mean by demographic? Demographic usually comes from let's use the one that Facebook uses to do to target demographics. So let's say age, we have income, level of education, location. What else do you have in demographic? What are their what else do you have in demographics here? Let's think. Let's just talk with these 4 of them, right? How people between the age of the TikTok generation, how TikTok generation and Facebook generation behave is not the same. What this one is gonna, you see, TikTok, they're into short videos. I'm just using an example, right? Okay, let's not use the TikTok generation, but age, different generations were raised differently. So when you are thinking about the age, let's say they want to target a 16-year-old, you need to go into their mind and imagine first what is about a 16-year-old, and then you can come and design what better products for them while we keep going into the as we keep growing our business model. Let's talk about income. Who do you want to serve? Yesterday we talked about Daisy earning 30,000 shillings. Or not yesterday, the previous episode talked about Daisy earning 30,000 shillings. So if Daisy is earning 30,000 shillings, do you want to keep her or do you want to fire her? depending on the product you're offering, and then the level of education. This one is very, very important because it determines someone is literate or illiterate. It determines if you need to go to the villages to get them, or you need to go to where, to uptown to get them. It also determines their level of income. It also determines their level of their how much they can be able to do or to cough to pay. Location, you all know location means someone living in Nairobi and someone, for example, location, you can talk about cities and rural areas. Population in the cities have different needs than population in the rural areas. Let me give you a very, very good example using Kenya. So we have this type of boots. You see, this is type of boots, and it is during the during this July cold, right? So these are Viking boot, this is a half boot. If you want to serve someone in the rural area, I would encourage them to take what? This boot over what? Over this boot. But if you're in the city, this one you can make this work. It's warm, and you're probably you have a corporate job and you work less. Probably you can afford to get a cab from point A to point B. This one you can navigate easily, and it's light, it gets the job done, it's comfortable, it's very, very soft inside and all that. But if you're in the rural areas, this boot was designed for what? The rural areas. Why? You need a grip, because you are probably walking through gravel. Not everywhere you're walking from is done what ikona lami. You might be knocking other things. Maybe unakuanga na nduthi sometimes, zingine una nduthi. So if you take this boot is gonna serve you better in the village than what? Than this fancy light boot. So you see, that's the different needs of. That's an example of how location works at the end of the day. So, and then the last thing you can do about this is what? Gender. Gender, this one is the easiest. Women are girly apparently, and men are not. So let's use an example of, let's not use that boot, let's use a low cut. These are both what? Slip-ons, right? And they are both leather shoes. But what's the difference between shoe A and shoe B? This one is made in a masculine manner. You look at the sole is bulky. A man can easily walk with it because of how the sole is bulky. It can accommodate their weight and their heaviness. So when you're designing a product for men, you need to remember that they're usually bulkier, they are heavier, they have muscles, they've been built to last. So they need a shoe that is built to last. And imagine men go through these shoes. Kuna wase wanavanga so hadi inaisha. I'm not kidding. Man, okay, let's not go there. A female shoe is lighter, the sole is amazing, and they're both leather, and the leather is softer compared to what you're putting for men's shoes. The leather is softer, and they're both leather, and they're both slip-on designs. So gender also play a big role on when deciding what to do what. And if it's someone who has no gender, we also have to consider that. This also determines the kind of colors you're gonna use in products, especially if you're in fashion and all that. Because different gender have different needs. Even in hygiene products, different genders have what? Different needs at the end of the day. So these are the things you need to consider when you're looking at your demographics. Let's go now to my favorite, psychographics. So psychographics, this is about what? People's opinions, values, interests. Let's work with these three. Or should I add more? Do you want me to add more? I think there's three. These three are, oh yeah, I almost forgot the most important lifestyles. Right? Psychographics is about the psych. It is it's not like behavioral, it is about the psych. Your psych. Let's not do that. So about what are their opinions? These people are because this one will determine the brand message. Like example, if you're targeting people from let's say uptown, okay, if you talk to them like with such ads, will you really communicate? You see? But if I'm targeting the streets and they come with all the share I have learned in all the brand messaging, in everything, will I not reach them? Depending on what your brand is. And if your brand is inclusive, your messages need to be what? Extremely neutral. So if in Kenya, when you're trying to express that, you're gonna have to express in what? You're gonna have to express the brand messages in a neutral language, like either English or Kiswahili. If you want to reach everyone, you can use Kiswahili. If you are trying, so language, this one, knowing people's opinions and their value and their interest and their lifestyle would help you know how best to serve your clients. For example, for their values, there are people whose values, have you ever seen this thing in hotels whereby there are hotels, a man and a woman cannot sleep in the same room unless they provide what? Marriage certificate. What is that that hotel saying? They are literally fired someone who does not have what? A marriage certificate, senior, to go and sleep in their motel. That's what they call what? The values of the premises. And sometimes their clients love that about what? Their premises. Why? Because they know I am going there as a married person. So all my neighbors are gonna be what? Married for my trip. You see that kind of thing? Interest. What are your clients interested in? Are they into gossip? If they're into gossip, you know how to place the ads. If they are into hiking, you know how to place your ads. If they are, at the end of the day, their interest and where they are actually helps you lifestyle. Now this one is the most interesting one. What kind of lifestyle are your clients living? And lifestyle is very open. It's very versatile and very potent. So this one you have to keep changing a lot depending on who you're targeting and how they're growing as people. Because there was a time I saw on keg. I saw on keg because that was what I could afford. But right now I can't even drink it. I cannot believe I once said I loved keg. So point of when you're creating when you're doing a customer segmentation, you need to be very open and allow a lot of room. Geography. This one is a Kenya thing, and one of the geographic things, the most important thing is the weather. And Zeri will tell you for free, she makes shoes for African tropical climate. Quote and quote. Specifically for African tropical climate, why? Because we don't have extremes. We do not have winters in Kenya. We do not have, unless like a small place, Limuru. But also their winter is not as intense as what? Winter. It's cold, yes, but not the kind of cold that it gets, that is insane compared to how winter gets. So weather is very important. So usually the whole of Kenya, we have a very tropical climate. So what are the important things in making shoes for the tropical climate? The shoes has to be breathable. The material has to be it has to be breathable so it can allow, for example, Shemka Subu umevaa boot, umevaa gambut ila plastic. Ukafika tauju because it really did make sense. Alafu ikafika saa saba kajua kakawaka. Kajua ukaanza kusema. Watu wangu Eldoret. Unanuka asubuhi na gambu tukidhani leo umefika KCC. Kutoka hivi unakuja unapata vitu zilienda wapi South J kawaka. So, for example, if you have these boots haita leak, does not leak inside. First of all, it is very breathable. Na kajua kikuja, this is jute. Jute inaweza kubreathe, line inaweza kubreathe, so you don't feel like your feet are on fire. That's why I keep saying Africa is a very tropical climate. So weather plays a very important thing in doing that. Population size. Kenya, we are around about 50 million people, right? So there's around 50 million people available to be served. So population size will determine how big or small your operations become. It also determine how you're going to segment your clients. Because I've had stories like some places in Europe where the population is less than 200 people. That is interesting. So instead of like that, you only need one shoemaker, you only need one dressmaker, you see, it's a very small population. One person can serve people for everything. You don't need a lot of businesses to keep popping up. So this one also affects your scalability and how you're gonna raise capital and all that kind of things. In geography, also religion plays a very important role. In Kenya, we are blessed enough to have more than one religion. We have the Christians, the Muslims, and if you're targeting Muslims, the language is gonna be very different than the way you're targeting Christians. And if you're targeting the people who don't go to church, the atheists or whatever, the language is gonna be very different. And if you decide if you want to go neutral in your targeting, also your language has to be neutral, your products have to be neutral. There should not be. I think that is all for geography, or do I need to add something else? location also, of course, location with on location, geography, and the same location here and the same location is the same things. So people living in different countries, living in different cities, they adopt different cultures, different designs, and different everything else. Now let's go to the last one, firmographic. Firmographic is about the farm's ideas and what do you call it? The farm's ideas, the industry ideas. Example, I was told that lawyers have to wear nini the whole day. They have to wear official the whole day. They are very, very, what do you call it? They are very, very strict. Even like things, firmography includes things like governments. How you work with governments is gonna be different. NGOs in different industries. Like for example, in Kenya here we make, okay, let me give a good example of different industries. There's someone who can, their work shoe is this. They have to wear official formal shoes. Is that. And there's someone who, whereby Pinyanafanya kazi, they're allowed to wear what? To wear this. They're penny loafers and it's considered official. So different industries demand different things. Like even like when the same thing of some schools insist you have to wear a black shoe. It has to be black leather shoe. And some schools are very, very lenient. They don't mind. Like there's a school that allowed us to, there's a school that the kids bought these shoes for. These are shoes for their what? For their weekend shoes, and that was interesting for me to learn that. Their school is very lenient, they don't have to wear black shoes, they only have to wear black shoes once a week. So different farms, the firmography comes from the word farm or industry. So that's why I'm saying it's going to be the last one, is going to be a big part of this conversation. Now let's move on to the last part. Usually I keep saying I'm going to be leaving pro tips, and here is my pro tip today. Mistakes to avoid. Mistakes to do what? Mistakes to avoid when you're doing your segments. To avoid. Avoid being too narrow. Too narrow is bad. You see what? That, right? Stop being too rigid. Too rigid is bad for business. Another thing, ignoring potential clients. You see, like how he said Kenya is making shoes for Daisy, and then we at some point after you're doing a more of your market research, you did this apparently. We need to find technology to do versus serving Brenda. You see, ignoring these are the things you need to avoid. If you're too narrow, you're gonna miss out on potential clients. If you're too rigid, by too rigid I mean you need to grow with your client. That's what it means. Example, I keep saying I used to drink keg, I don't anymore. So if my brand of choice does not make something I wanna drink, I'm gonna abandon them. That's real. Too rigid. You say, this is no naga keg. You see, even Kenya has evolved. Kitambo, we just used to make our local shoes. Now we have evolved. We have these high cost shoes. These boots go for 10K by the way. This one goes for 2.5. Why? This one you're targeting for that same year. And to a group of schools. So if we had ignored people who were looking for rubber sole and high quality shoes for years, okay, we don't ignore them, we're not started targeting them, but currently Kenya has the potential of doing or targeting them. So at the end of the day, as a business, you should consider what such things. Don't be too rigid, be very, very flexible when you're writing your business model and you're creating a business model and all that. Grow with your clients if possible. And that, I think that's all for today, and I think I have talked a lot. Before I close, I want to say just a few things. So after you've done your customer segments, what is the most important thing about customer segments is doing what? It helps you do your what? Marketing strategy. I always say the uses of our customer segmentation, but now when you're doing this, the following things come out, right? Example, things like market size. If you've done a good job, you're gonna realize segments differences and how to serve all or fire others, profit versus spending for serving every segment, and the last bit, accessibility of what? Of your clients. So one of the most things that's gonna help you in the end of this, and I think that's all for today. Enjoy your day and bye. If you like this episode, subscribe, like, and put the notification bell to get access to beta entrepreneur lectures. Have a good day and bye.